So, one of my more crazy moments, I've decided to do something about having the lights running all the time. I do not want my lights running all the time. Typically, just pick up the camera here. When I'm riding that ridge of mountains there's a never-ending uphill assault of sections that make the bike get so hot that the warning light comes on. So quite often I've got to stop. Well, pretty much every time I stop, I leave the bike with the ignition switched on so the fan can cool down the engine so that I can get on and do the next section. So the last thing I want to do is leave my ignition switched on with the headlight switched on and the fan running. It'll kill the battery, especially as I'm using a 5 amp battery to save weight. So what I've been doing so far is I disconnected the dip beam and only had main beam. That was good until the bulb blew, then I had no lights at all. Brilliant. So then I had to put another bulb in and etc, etc. Trying to get through the waffle here. But also, this is the clutch inhibitor switch wiring. I don't need a clutch inhibitor. I want to be able to start the bike in gear when I want to start the bike, not when they want me to start the bike. So these green wires with a probably red trace. A bit brown now, but green wire with a red trace, that is your inhibitor switch, so that's taken out of the equation. Also, hazard lights. I mean, hazard lights on a dirt bike, that's about as useful as a bloody ashtray, really. So in order to isolate the hazard switch from the main loom, I actually cut this loom open, and would you believe the wiring is double spliced into the ignition, into the indicator circuits, but it's double spliced as far down as there. So I had to cut the whole of the sheathing to get in there. Well, of course, overheat, time, etc. All that tape's going to come off. It's going to be a mess. So, how do we do this nicely? Well, I haven't explained what I'm doing yet. My goal is to repurpose the hazard switch into an excuse me, a ground switch for the headlight. What that means is I want to be able to turn the hazard on and off to turn the ground on and off on the headlight. Therefore I can have the headlights on at will, and I still have a main and a dip. So that's the actual purpose. It's probably taking 10 minutes to explain that, but that's the purpose of this. So I pulled my broken up switch apart yesterday just to see how it all worked in there, and I did find out how it all worked, but I also broke the dip beam pin which goes in there. I broke that trying to get the switch apart. So here's one I bought earlier, 5 years earlier to be exact, and that's still got all the gubbins inside it. So do I want to risk ripping all this switch apart again, or shall I just go in and splice it from up here? Well, the answer is, people, I'm going to go in, I'm going to splice it from up here. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to take the 2 connecting wires from inside the switch, and I'm going to splice them into these 2 clutch starter wires. I'm then going to remove the clutch starter wires from the connector plug, and I'm going to hook them up to the earth wire on the headlight. So in how many minutes have we been on this? In a 10-minute nutshell, whatever it is, that is going to be an on-off switch for the headlights. So I hope you followed all that so far. So like I said, I'm going to recap. I'm not slicing all down through the insulation just to get in here, because it's too far to go, especially with that one. Look, that one, it is basically somewhere down there. I'm not going all the way down there just to cut the wiring up. So I'm going to cut the wiring up from back here by sliding this sheath down, because it will go down to the plug. I'll repurpose the clutch inhibitor wires, solder them into the 2 here that I want to use, and then take them out of the plug and connect them into the earth circuit, or the earth part of the headlight wiring. Right, here we go now. So to start moving the sheathing around, you're going to have to take this locator screw out here for this little locating plate, and you'll also have to get rid of that cable tie there, look. Just give that a bit of a, that's a bit of a tough one, or is that blade completely screwed? Oh, a bit of a tricky one. Trying to avoid slicing through my hands for the sake of making a video. And finally, right, take that one out, pop it up there. Right, now then, we've got a bit of sheath in here, which we can take off. There's the inhibitor switch. The wiring's now free. Right, now what I'm going to do now is just slide it all the way down to the plug. So I'll be back. Alright, as you can see, I now got access to the wiring. I now need to isolate blue with a white trace, orange with a white trace, and grey with a red trace. Because those three are double wired into the loom back here. And those three are the trigger switches for the indicator system. So, clutch inhibitor, make sure you don't cut the wrong wires. Right, there's your bottom wire in there, look, there's your headlight wiring, so it's that, ooh, careful, it's that one, and that one, so it's those three there. Those three there are the ones that go up to the hazard switch. I mean, ideally, I'd take the hazard switch out, unsolder the wires and solder these two on there, but I don't really want to mess with the switch. I might give it a 2-minute mess. I'll be back. You know, I've had a little play in there, and based off of what I accidentally damaged yesterday, I don't really see the way to get the main beam segment out without breaking everything, and you need to get it out to get that white part out. So we're just going to go with the other plan. We're going to disable the three wires to the hazard switch, and then repurpose two of them on the clutch inhibitor switch. Repurpose them to act as an on-off switch for the ground. So that's the next trick. Right, the wiring's snipped. I'm going to apply a principle that's pretty much unheard of in Thailand. I'm going to solder the wires and shrink wrap them. Amazing, eh? Right, hands up all of you that have soldered wires together before and forgot to put the shrink wrap on. Yay, we've all done it. Okay, so as these basically all three of them just connect together, I am going to simply take the two that I made long and twist them up, which is the go-to way to do things here. Oops, I always make things really far too short for my huge sausage fingers. Anyway, we got bags of time while the soldering iron heats up, so there's one, there's two, and all the while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, I originally busted my hazard switch off in a crash. Am I going to bust this one off? Because I'm not the only one who's got a busted hazard switch. I've seen other bikes with them. So all this malarkey could completely be a waste of time. But who knows? Right, a little bit of action there as I managed to knock the camera over. But we're back in the game. There's one. So that'll burn everything in sight. Get off. Been a bit tricky to solder. Oops, just drop that in the switch there. That's messy. Okay. Right. Soldering iron off. Soldering iron on the floor, away from my feet. Let's just check what solder I've spilled. Okay. That's that one. Right, before the soldering iron gets too cold, just shrink wrap this. Kind of make it look like I know what I'm doing. And the next one. Come on, hurry up. Shrink, 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 shrink. Right, okay. Now then. Oh no, we're not allowed to say that anymore, are we? Right, let's just slide that back up a little bit, and then we want to get the two wires at the bottom and just bring them back into the loom like that. That's my fist covering the picture, I'm not sure. Right, now I'll put all this lot back together now, slide the sheathing back up, put the clamp back on, and then that end's done. Right, my lawnmower man's just fired up for the day, so there'll be no peace now. I've assembled the switch back up using assembly grade Kevlar zip ties. Big shout out to Ichiban Moto for that top tip. Right, my wires are pulled out at the bottom, so if you can still hear me speaking, I'll show you how to do the pin out. Actually, I can't remember how to do the pin out. What do I actually do? I open the switch by just I peel back the ears. I can't remember now. You carefully pop back the ears of the switch. I'm struggling now to concentrate with that noise in the background. Sorry about this, but this is Thailand. It's in the middle as well, look. Look at me faffing around here like a bloody flounder. Right. Switch 2. Now clippers. I don't know if you can see any of this because I can't. I'm looking down on the camera. I can't actually see the camera. Oh, this is a terrible mess I'm making here. Open. Come on. There you go. Right. Once you open the side. It's gone too far. Once you open the side, it releases all the locking pins, so you can basically... Oh god. It releases all the locking pins. It's supposed to release all the locking pins. it's not released the locking pins. Well, that's kind of odd. That's supposed to release the locking pins. I said that about 4 times, 15 times even. Hang on. So anyway, I just got the snips out and I just snipped those 2 wires off. I don't know why that operation failed, because I actually removed the main beam. You know, I'm going to have to scrap this video. I'm going to have to put this video on my bomb out channel, which YouTube's really slaughtering at the moment. And I'll just remake this video for my other semi-slaughtered channel in a 2-minute format. So, anyway, for the long version, go over to Helmut Schmacker. That'll be the long version. So now I'm going to go and make a short version right now.